Hello, Fantastic Beasts fans! More new images of Queenie have been released, which makes me wonder, did Vinda slip a potion into Queenie's tea? And, in the series to come, will Queenie rescue Jacob from the dead? I'm Susan Chapal of Fantastic Secrets Behind Fantastic Beasts to bring you the clues. Join me and other Fantastic Beasts fans here on the Beast Chaser Forum as we uncover the secrets, discover what's coming first, and play along with Rowling's newest game. And make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification so you'll be notified when videos post and won't miss out on the next clues. There are several points I want to make in this final analysis about Queenie. First, the postcard scene. I was wrong when I speculated that this was a howler sent from Chiena to Newt. An upcoming book mentions that the postcard is sent from Chiena to Queenie. Thanks so much to Marie for the reminder. And Chiena informed me about a rumor that Chiena is a bit upset with her sister for manipulating Jacob. Seems manipulation is something Queenie might have in common with Grindelwald. Also, the new postcard shows a different image than what we've seen before. Catherine, in the comments, pointed out that it is likely due to the magical secrecy of the postcard. For Muggles, it looks like the Eiffel Tower, but when Magicals hold it, it transforms to the statue that leads to the secret Rue Claudel. Pretty cool, huh? Next, in two new scene reveals for TV spots, we get glimpses of Queenie in the heart of Grindelwald's camp. She's pictured 2 times in the apartment which Grindelwald seems to be inhabiting, one that does not seem to be his apartment. Notice all the toys lying about. But whether he usurped this place, as I theorized earlier, or whether it belongs to one of his members, I don't know. However, in one scene, we see Queenie confronting Grindelwald, and in another cozy one, she's having tea with Vinda. The two seem quite jarring when juxtaposed next to each other, unless, could Vinda have introduced Queenie to Grindelwald, and then this is where Grindelwald managed to win her over? What is most curious to me here is this teapot nudging Queenie for more tea. While this may just be a joke on the social niceties surrounding tea, I think it may also serve as a subtle hint. Is Queenie possibly being slipped a potion? Is there something in that tea that will either influence her decisions or perhaps dim her legitimacy? Or could the whole tea thing be about collecting some of her hair or spit samples for someone to polyjuice her? The reason why I think this relates to a prior video. A few months back, I posted a video about a possible djinn in the series. Part of the theory was based on a leak that Queenie's doppelganger had been cast, an actress by the name of Chloe Swan. Neither the actress nor the character have been posted on IMDb, but at that time, the actress's agency casting site listed her and her role, which now shows this. Seems someone is trying to keep her secret. As we said in the prior video, doppelganger is not a term used for a stunt or body double, so the secret Chloe Swan may still have a role to play in the plot. Which brings me to this final image of Queenie that's been recently released. Notice her unusual expression here at the very end. Jacob seems a bit horrified with what he's seeing in the amphitheater, but Queenie, when she turns away, smiles slightly, perhaps a satisfied smile. I'm wondering if this is Queenie or her doppelganger. Yes, clearly the actress is Alison Sudol and not Chloe. However, we could see Chloe in a prior scene where she transforms into the role of doppelganger, and here where Alison shows the doppelganger in full Queenie mode. What do you think? Next, there's a bit of subtext I want to mention in regard to Queenie. I had this in my Fantastic Secrets Behind Fantastic Beasts book ever since the first film came out, but haven't yet mentioned it in a video. Tina's middle name is Esther. When you combine that with Queenie, then biblical Queen Esther might be the inspiration. Esther was an Israelite in exile chosen to marry a Persian king. According to the story, when the king's advisor plotted to kill the Israelites, Queen Esther risked her life to confront the king and plead for her people's lives. He granted her request and had his advisor put to death instead. If Esther is her inspiration,
Rowling could be using the names as a hint that Queenie will work from within the enemy's camp to save her people. But there are also two goddesses that I think might have influenced the naming of Queenie. Sometimes called the Queen of Heaven, both Inanna and Isis have interesting myths related to a journey through the underworld. Both journeys involve death and resurrection. In one, it's Inanna's. In Isis's myth, she resurrects her husband, Osiris. Look at this very curious image of the augury recently released. When I first saw it, I instantly thought of a plaque called the Burney Relief, housed in the British Museum. Here it is as seen now, and here's an image as to how it originally looked.
The goddess is thought to be Inanna.
Now, notice the augury's head feathers compared to the headdress of the goddess. To me, there's also a similarity in the stance and some of the markings that could resemble her breast and necklace. In her most famous myth, Inanna descends into the underworld, a journey measured by 7 gates, each one requiring the goddess to give up a bit of her power. When she reaches the underworld, the queen of the underworld puts her to death, but with the aid of her faithful followers, Inanna resurrects and ascends back to the living. Then there is this other image of the augury in Queenie and Jacob's character poster. As I mentioned in a prior video, it reminds me greatly of the Eye of Horus, an amulet of protection and healing, one also linked to resurrection. You can read some interesting posts from Marie at Honeydeer and CJ Falcon at Falcon Muse in this Twitter thread, which I've linked to in the description below. Horus is the son of the great goddess Isis, who is also associated with resurrection. Isis was both revered and feared for her skill with magic. In one of her key myths, when Isis's husband, Osiris, is killed and dismembered by his brother Set, Isis must journey to find each piece of her husband's body, with her sister Nephthys helping her. Then, with the aid of the wise god Thoth, often associated with the founding of alchemy, Isis is able to put Osiris's body back together, minus one piece, and resurrect her husband, at least long enough to get pregnant with Horus. Then Osiris becomes the lord of the underworld, while Isis and Horus reign among the living. Both Inanna and Isis are often depicted as winged goddesses, and we have seen so many wings with Queenie. Inanna and Isis are goddesses of transformation and resurrection, like the moth that Queenie wears. Over the course of the next 3 films, I think it very likely that we'll see Queenie rescuing Jacob from an underworld scenario. It's possible Grindelwald will test out his Muggle extermination program on Jacob, sending him beyond the veil that Grindelwald has just ripped open. Queenie will have the inside knowledge to rescue Jacob because of her position inside Grindelwald's camp. I see this as a future film scenario, not for Crimes of Grindelwald. Also, before you remind me in the comments that Rowling said a person who is properly dead cannot come back to life, I know. I'm assuming this would be the type of situation where Jacob would not be properly dead. Think of it like King's Cross. Whether I'm right or wrong about Queenie's possible links to Inanna or Isis, or Jacob's possible rescue, it's interesting to note that the augury is very much associated with Jacob. The augury is a phoenix, but almost as a photo negative. The phoenix both dies and is resurrected, but with the fire red phoenix, the resurrection seems to be emphasized. With the augury, its imagery can be quite dark, and along with its mournful cry preceding death, it seems to symbolize death more than resurrection. Now its placement next to Jacob could totally be a red herring, teasing fans of our favorite No-Mag's death. But I think it's more likely that it's hinting at Jacob's journey into the underworld and Queenie's need to rescue him. Finally, while I think Queenie could have initially been persuaded to work for Grindelwald due to his fine speeches about love and freedom, I believe she continues, even after realization struck as to Grindelwald's true nature, due to her burning need to right the wrongs she may have caused, and eventually to save Jacob from death. So, what do you think? Is Queenie being slipped something in her tea? And will we see her on a journey to save Jacob in a future film?
Please share your thoughts in the comments. Also, please check out my new fan shop on Amazon for books and Funko Pops and wands and all things Fantastic Beasts.